Well guys, here we are again. 78 Toyota pickup truck, 20R motor, 5-speed transmission. And I'm not going to yell about the truck because hey, she's 38 years old, things happen. Just seems lately everything's happening at once, one after another. But we're going to keep on, stay positive, we're going to get some things solved here. Now, problem seems to be starts and runs okay until, and it's a little bit of an idle problem, I'll get to that, but once it warms up and you take it out, it wants to stall when you put it in neutral or take the load off the engine, just let it come back to idle, and it just goes down and poof, stalls. I've done a lot of research. Could be any of a number of ignition problems, of course. I know the fuel side's good because I got a brand new fuel pump back there. New fuel filter, new lines, front and back. Rebuilt carburetor from National Carburetor. Runs great at higher RPM once you get it going. Nice, it's fairly smooth, but leaving gear and get your foot off the gas without pushing the clutch in, and there's backfire through the exhaust pipe and sometimes a little up through here. Sounds like a timing problem. Double check timing, it's all where it's supposed to be. Timing chain is about a year old, so it's not that. Did have the cover off of this and adjusted the valves. Nothing really out of spec there. Exhaust patch job I did. My brazing on there is holding up good. There's no leaks up here. Rechecked all the nuts on here. They're all on spec, 33 foot-pounds. So that leaves the ignition. Plugs look okay. Wires aren't that old. Cap and the rotor, alright. There was a little bit of corrosion inside the connections. I mean, not connections, terminals. Cleaned all that off. Cleaned all the grounds over here. That one there. Cleaned the terminals on that. And I've previously cleaned grounds. There's one back here. There's 3 down there. Check the battery. The battery's good. So, what we got going on here today is got 4 new plugs going in. Original Nippon Denso. Take no chances with that. Got a set of Bosch wires. Got a new cap and rotor going on here. I have checked the air gap on the pickup coil here. It's within spec. On the 20R, it's supposed to be between 0.008 and 0.012. No, excuse me, 0.016. 008 to 016. It's coming in right about 011, 012, so it's good. Air gap's fine. My new wires, cap, rotor, pickup coil, good. Oh yeah, and I ohmed it out. I put an ohm meter on this. They're supposed to measure 130 to 190 ohms range, and it's coming in at 165, so coil in there is good. But this coil, I think, is a problem. Now, you can look on YouTube and find other videos about how to check these things. Let me see my picture back here. There we go. You can check the resistance on these. Across these two, you have primary and you have secondary. Primary, according to the specs in the book I have, is supposed to be 1.3 to 1.7. That checks out okay. Low side on the secondary is supposed to be 9,500, high side 15,000. 9,500, 15,000. Hot, this was measuring 14,150. Cold, it was measuring 13,500. So as these warm up, they will get hot when you run them just normally. Resistance goes up. If it's within spec, it's no big deal because it doesn't resist the current as much. But I've got almost no head space, if you will, on this coil. And when I checked this hot, it was actually 30 minutes after I came back and shut her down. So it was probably higher than that. It could have been close to the upper range at 15,000, and when I run it and it gets hotter and hotter, resistance goes up, which means it's keeping current from coming out and firing. So we got a new coil coming in. So we're going to get all that stuff replaced today. Gonna see if it makes any difference. There's another connection here. I did take that off and clean that up and put that back. I'm hoping it's not this, because that's the igniter box. That's the only thing I can't really check or measure. If it is that, if I do all this and it's still doing the same thing, it's got to be this. Now, on these old 20R and 22R Toyotas, these igniter boxes are pretty much the same, and they run between $250 and $400. And yes, that's for an aftermarket. That's not original Toyota. You want one of those, it's going to be about $850 from a dealer if they have them. There is a GM HEI igniter that you can wire into this mess, and it will work. There's some tricks to it. I'm not going to talk about it now because I don't want to go there. I hope I don't have to go there. If I do, I'll detail it. If you want information on it, you can look online. Just put Google 20R or 22R igniter bypass, and you'll find several postings out there. It tells you how to do it. One thing I will tell you from reading all that is make sure your ground is good, make sure your heatsink is good. Read it, you'll see what I mean. No big deal. But we're going to get to work here and start replacing all these parts and see what she does for me. We'll update you. Well, better, but not good enough. New cap and rotor, nice new wires, new plugs, new coil. Startup ran okay. Still not consistent idle. Jumps between 1,000 and 1,500, 1,000 and 1,500. No rhyme or reason, no really timing to it. If you pull the throttle closed, it'll come down to about 1,000 and sound pretty good. But then it wants to drop further. When it gets around 800, it wants to start missing and it goes slower and slower. And to get to 500, it's really good. When they cut out. So, we got battery power because it runs good at speed. Anything above 1,000, it does okay. There's no miss. There's no misfire. Exhaust is smelling okay. Not rich. Not sulfury. So when it's running higher than idle, it's burning pretty good. So good contact. Good contact, good contact, good contact, good contact, good contact, good contact, good contact. And I even cleaned that. And I cleaned the grounds here. So, got to be that. That's fairly warm. Coil's a little warm, but not bad. I can hold it. It's nice and warm. Good hand warmer. So, yeah, we either take that off of there, take it apart and see what's inside and see if there's anything wrong with it, or we go with the GM HEI unit, because I'm not spending $250 for that. That's crazy. Somebody else might have a different idea, but I'm not going to let her spend that kind of money on this. It's not worth it when you get it done for like $25. Just an afternoon doing some wiring. It's no big deal. Well. Oh yeah, timing. Get my picture back here. Right here. Ow. I tried bumping it up. When you advance the ignition, ignition advance. When you advance it by turning the distributor, loosen the bolt, turn it. Around 1,000 RPM, I've got it set at 8 before, which is the spec. It does okay. Gets around 1,000, it's not so bad. You get around about 800, 900, it's starting to want to die. So I decided to go ahead and advance it up past the 8 and take it to 13. And then see if I couldn't back the idle screw down. Which would be right here, that red one. and it's a little better. But you still get to 1,000, it's still starting to want to miss. So I don't think it has anything to do with the ignition advance. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I had this cap off. I sprayed some WD-40 back in there to make sure all the advance weights were not sticky and they were clear and they were lubed. They're fine. They move just fine. So, I don't know. Vacuum advance doesn't seem to matter much. It might be sticky. I need a vacuum pump to test that because I can't draw enough vacuum on my own. But I doubt that's the problem. Other than that, old distributor checks out. There's no shaft wobble. There's no worn out bearings. I've checked it 3 times. Had the valve cover off here to set the valves. The gear looks good. Gear on the cam looks good. Shaft gear looks good. There's no wear. They're meshing fine. There's no backlash. That wouldn't explain it anyway. So as you can see, we're learning as we go. We don't have all the information. It's a lot of guesswork. You know, the experience it's a lot of guesswork, but hey, you know, that's the way it goes. So we're going to see about that igniter next and see what happens. I'll update you. It might be a while. Stay tuned. Thanks for looking.